Hello there, I assume I know why you're here. Yes, of course, you have recently been upgraded to a sugar baby. That's right, you were a mere sugar zygote. Then you grew, and now you are sugar baby. Oh, it is so exciting. Does that mean you're moving in? Absolutely, yes. And to a new mansion, of course. Of course, and yes. And I think I spoke to you on the phone, is that right? Absolutely. So, I assume with you moving in with your sugar, partner, you will need some wait staff. Is that correct? Yes. Well, wait staff is essential to any mansion, and if you're going to have a mansion, then you may as well do it right. So, I'm very glad that you're here, and based off of the information that you gave me on the phone call earlier, I was able to determine quite a few people that you might need. Now, of course, who am I, right? My name is Basil, and I simply facilitate these sorts of hirings, right? You can call me a recruiter, though that's a very unsavory term, I would say. So, let's go ahead and talk through an overview of what kinds of people you would need, right? So, I fortunately have the notes here from our call. So, based off of what we had discussed, you are going to need a cook. Of course, everybody needs a cook, right? I mean, how could you live without a cook? A cook will prepare your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. And any snacks in between, the cook is ready to bring it to you, right? So that is a cook. However, you will also be in need of a chef. Now, why would you need both a cook and a chef? Well, the chef is more of a professional, more of a mainly dinners, right? So if you're hosting a party, let's say, right, you're a sugar baby now, you're going to be hosting parties, and you have to provide some value towards your partner, right? So the chef is going to make these things and be very impressive, whereas the cook is actually going to make the things you want to eat, right? So the chef makes things that is impressive, whereas the cook makes things that you actually want to eat. Okay. So that's the first two. The third is going to be a valet. Everybody needs a valet, to be honest. I mean, the parking these days is truly horrendous. Where can you park? It's really difficult. And you're a sugar baby. I'm sure you don't know how to park. You don't know how to parallel park. You barely know how to normally park. So, a valet is going to be very, very important. And you do have a nice driveway, many garages, and the nice thing about a valet, and this is something that I confirmed with you, a valet is going to, of course, live on the grounds, but not necessarily within the mansion. So you could give them a bit of a pay cut there, because they don't necessarily live inside the mansion. It doesn't need to be as fancy, right? So that's just something to keep in mind, right? Of course, you're going to need a maid, right? A maid, a cleaner of some kind, someone who goes around, picks up all the different things, dusts things off, that sort of thing. Now, remember, a maid is very important, and to be honest, I think that is the first role that is absolutely mandatory. Every other role, I would say, they're mandatory, yes, and I would say very highly recommended, but a maid should be the first thing that you go for, right? Because who needs time? If you're a sugar baby now, you don't have time to clean. Who else is going to walk around the mansion and look gaudy and expensive if not you, right? And if you're going to film yourself and post it online and make people jealous, then honestly, that's money you're needing to make. And a maid is only going to help you facilitate that. So, after the maid, I would say you would also need a gardener. Now, I assume before your sugar baby days, you were not necessarily, good with greenery. Yes, I expected. Yes, many a plant has died. So, a gardener is going to be very important because now you have grounds. Yes, you probably have a pool, you probably have, trees and bushes and grasses that are not native to the land that you are currently in and established in, but you want to grow anyway. Because why? Because it looks nice. So what if it destroys the ecosystem? That's really nothing. That's not your concern. And the gardener is there to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So the gardener is going to be next, and then you're going to, of course, have a butler. Now, I already said you need a maid, but the butler is there for more personal matters. Yes. So the butler is there if you require sort of more discretion. And of course, you're not going to ask the maid for, to help you with, bits and bobbins, right? You're going to need the maid to do the cleaning. The butler is there to, assist with any letters that need drafting. If you want to write a strongly worded letter, because sugar babies now have to write strongly worded letters. If you're going to live with your partner and be in a mansion, then strongly worded letters, I believe, are practically mandatory. So a butler can really help you with that. And of course, a butler is going to greet guests. They're going to make sure that you are comfortable, and to be honest, they're going to be someone who you can bounce conversation around, because God knows it's not going to be your partner. No, they're too busy making money. So it's you and the butler. Okay, and then the last one, of course, is the physician. Now, let's just say that the physician is there mainly because of the sugar baby and sugar partner status. Now, what do I mean by that? It's no secret that you're much younger. I'm just going to put it out there in the open. You are much younger. And so because you're younger, you don't have much to worry about with your health. But your partner, on the other hand, does have things to worry about. The physician is there to ensure that things move along smoothly to your needs and your benefit. Yes? Yes. So let's go ahead then. Those are the main. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You need 6, 7. You need 7 different staff at your mansion. I think to have a perfectly wonderful mansion, you can house guests, you can have parties, you can really do whatever you need. So, does that sound good to you? Absolutely, yes. I will go over each one. I actually, because I have such a variety of people that are ready to work for you, that are ready for a lord or lady to, for them to be subservient towards, because, so many people want to be subservient to a lord or lady. It's really crazy, Oh, no, I wouldn't say that they're ecstatic about it. It's more like they are, they're people that I have leverage over, and that will do my bidding for me. And so I'm able to hire them out to other people. Yes, okay. So, let's talk about each one. I've selected a few people, mainly 2 per category, so that you can get a nice contrast between 2 different kinds of wait staff. Okay, so for the cook, let's start with the cook. You have 2 options that I would recommend. Okay, you can either go with the upstart indie cook. What does that mean? It means that this is someone who does not have necessarily a lot of experience, but they're very outgoing and they're very, very eager to learn. And because they're sort of an upstart and they're very indie, they will really take hold of whatever you want them to. So if you know how to cook, let's say, and you want to teach someone how to cook, or teach someone how to cook your favorite recipes so that they can make them for you, then an upstart indie is perfect, because what they're going to do, and remember, the cook is there to cook things you want to eat. So an upstart indie is very, very good for that sort of thing. Incredibly wonderful, and really outgoing. Now, the drawbacks of an upstart indie cook is that they might find themselves, wanting more. They might find the life of a sugar baby at a mansion dull, let's say. Not to say that you are dull or that your life is dull, but just that an upstart indie, they're very wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, that sort of thing. However, you could, as a cook, go with an established uppity person. Now, an established uppity, that's what we'll call them. An established uppity is someone who has had years of experience, is perhaps a bit older, and, has a wide variety of experience and a wide variety of tastes, and so could probably pinpoint precisely what kind of food you like to eat, and then create things that perhaps you haven't tried but you will likely enjoy. Now, the problem with the established uppity is that they are a bit... let's just say they're easily annoyed. Yes, that's right. So, a cook is supposed to make any food you want at any time of day or night. And because of how the established uppity is going to live and the experience that they have, it's going to be a bit difficult for you to ask a lot of them, right? There's going to be a bit of snark. And if you like snark, then that's perfectly fine. But I personally would choose between the two because these are the best two. Okay? So, do you want an upstart indie or do you want the established uppity? Alrighty. Okay, so moving on to the chef, we have two different types of chefs. We have either the home-style cooking chef. So what is a home-style cooking chef? So this is a chef that, as they went up through their careers, as they made a name for themselves, they really wanted to create not very impressive dishes, but very tasty dishes, right? Dishes that hearken to our country, that hearken to very down-to-earth sensibilities. Yes, it's all very fancy, mind you. They're very upscale, but they're not necessarily they're tasty, but they're not incredibly impressive that you're like, oh my gosh, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? Home-style cooking is one of those ones where if you crave sort of more like large portions, big meals where everything is tasty and covered in butter, that is the kind of chef that you might want. Now, you can also go for the Michelin style chef. Now, the Michelin style is, of course, someone who is incredibly fancy, has worked in multiple Michelin stars, and therefore will give you the most circuitous dining experience that you've ever had. Now, is it going to be tasty? Maybe, maybe not. But it's going to be an experience, and it's really great at parties. However, because the chef with the Michelin style is going to be creating these like really crazy experiences, it might get very annoying at times for you. So you're really going to have to tell just from yourself. You're going to have to really look inside and see home-style cooking or Michelin style. Okay? So, which one would you like? The home-style cooking or Michelin style? Okay. That sounds good to me. Yeah, the other's going to be dashed. I'm so sorry. That's okay. So, let's move on to the valet. So, for the valet, we have 2.5 options. So you can, of course, go for a careful driver. This is a driver that's maybe a bit nervous being on the road, but is very competent. They, take you to where you need to go. Perhaps not the fastest, but they are not going to ding your car. They are not going to. There's not going to be any issues. Now, is there going to be moments where people on the road are going to be upset with them because perhaps they're going a bit slower than necessary, or perhaps they are taking a more a longer route towards your destination because it's safer or because it's more familiar? Perhaps, but this is the kind of driver, this kind of careful driver. They're very defensive, and they want you to smell the roses and look at the trees, and it's a very slow kind of driver, yes? The other kind of driver is a very outgoing driver. Now, this is a driver that you are going to have many a chat with, very friendly, very, very happy, but as you talk to them, you might discover, some bits about their past that you might find a bit problematic or perhaps a bit scary. But, that's all behind them because now they're a driver and they're your driver. So really, there's nothing to worry about with them. But there's a little bit of danger right? And that really comes through with their driving, yes? They'll get you there the fastest. They'll make sure that you're on time. However, we cannot guarantee that they won't hit the car every now and then, yes? And if you have the money, then it's really not a problem. But one of the benefits of the outgoing driver is that you have someone in your corner. You can really talk to someone. If you're an outgoing person, if you're very, extroverted, then the outgoing driver might be for you, right? Because the careful driver, they're too busy driving to talk to you. It's going to be a very quiet ride. But the outgoing driver, that is the one that you can have a relationship with, a friendship perhaps. Of course, a friendship, established upon a power dynamic that is, a boss and their subordinate at best. So, now, I said 2.5, right, for valet, because one of the options is, of course, AI with the Waymos and all the nonsense, yes. You can, of course, opt for that, but the issue with that is that it is a very new technology and it is ruining the environment. And who's to say? Perhaps you don't care about the environment. I mean, you are living in a mansion, so that is an option for you. It's who's to say, right? AI is definitely destroying our economy as well. And if you want to contribute to that, then more power to you. So that is an option. So what would you like? The careful driver, the outgoing driver, or do you want to go with the much maligned AI? Okay. Very good. Actually, my ink is running out. Oh dear. Okay. Actually, it's a bit left. Okay. So let's move on to the maid. Yes. So for the maid, we have two options here. We have the silent watcher. Now, a silent watcher is a maid who is always out of sight, but always available. She or he is very, very, very available to you, is very present. But they're aware of your schedule in a way that you are not aware. He might come in and clean your room when you had stepped out simply to use the bathroom, yes? Or she might, she might realize that you take a walk every Sunday at 7. And so she will take the time to, make sure that your shoes are in order, make sure that everything is in order for your walk, and make sure that there is nothing to disturb you at that time, yes? So the silent watcher is someone who is present in a way that is felt but not seen. Now, the other option is, of course, the nagging caretaker. Now, this type of maid as a nagging caretaker is, nagging tends to be a very negative term. However, the reason why I bring this up as an option is because a nagging caretaker is someone who it provides a bit of opposition to you as a sugar baby. Now, as a sugar baby, you're at the top of the world, right? You've made it. You're there. And so a nagging caretaker is there to really bring you down, humble you a bit, yes? They don't care about your status. They don't care about any of that. They simply want to get their job done and be done with it. And so they are going to give you a very real look at a perhaps a little bit rude, but they're also a caretaker. They do actually care, but it's a bit beneath the surface. Yes. So, and of course, they are very in your face. Yes, they will ask you to move. They will ask you to leave. They will, you hired them to clean the room, and if you're in the room that they need to clean, they will kick you out to clean the room. Yes, so that is the other option. So either the silent watcher or the nagging caretaker. Which would you like? Okay. Very good. Okay, so let's move on then to the gardener. So for the gardener, you have, as usual, two different options. You have the green thumb neighbor. So the green thumb neighbor is someone who, they're very, very down to earth. They've raised a few plants themselves. They have their own home. They love plants. They read about them in their free time, and it's just they're a little dorky. They're a little dorky. That's a perfect way to describe them. And so you might find them a bit cute, perhaps a bit corny, but they'll get the job done. But they're not very impressive to look at. And what I mean by that is that when you bring guests over, they're going to find your guests. That is, they're going to find an issue with your gardener. And by issue, I do mean that they're going to be like, oh, why do they look like that? You can, of course, opt for the professional landscaper. The professional landscaper is, of course, someone who is going to make the place beautiful. Now, by any means necessary, through any amount of money, any amount of destroying of the environment, that doesn't matter. They are going to make your landscape, your grounds, the most beautiful. And they're going to be in and out. They are perhaps one of the few people that is not actually going to live on the grounds. The gardener, a green thumb neighbour could live on the grounds because they don't have anywhere else to go. The professional landscaper is going many different places. They're not going to stay there for very long. So it's really up to you what kind of attention you want the grounds to have. Yes? Okay. So which one would you like? Yes. Okay. So for the butler, there are two very classic roles they can play. They can either be the secret lover, which, let's just say, very self-explanatory. I don't know the kind of relationship you have with your partner, especially because you are a sugar baby, yes? So a lot of sugar babies that come to me, they tend to be in a situation where they need someone else because the person that they are with, that they are a sugar baby to, is, let's just say, on the way out, yes? And they're just simply wanting the money. So the secret lover there for the butler is there to ensure that there is someone who cares for you and that you care for in a way that is unrelated to monetary gain. Yes, and I find that makes it very good for the mental health of the sugar babies. And, all I care about is the mental health of a sugar baby. So that is option one. Option two is, of course, a no-nonsense, loyal butler. So that is pretty self-explanatory from the title, but to go a little bit further into it, this is someone who does not really make very much conversation with you, does what is told, but is not particularly present. And that's totally fine because as a butler, they're just there to be essentially your secretary, right? To be someone who can just do the odds and ends of in the household, right? So that is something that they're also a no-nonsense loyal, I would say. There's a lack of judgment from them, compared to the secret lover. If you do something that the secret lover doesn't like, they will, it might cause issues, might cause drama, but the no-nonsense loyal butler is going to have is not going to care because they don't care. So, which one would you like, please? Okay, I will. Okay, all right. So then last but not least is the physician. So this, you might be wondering, what kind of physician do we need, right? Just a physician's a physician. But this is a very special case. So for a sugar baby, I find that there are two physicians that tend to be wanted the most. The first is a by-the-book physician. This is someone who takes their job very seriously, gets it done, and leaves. Yes, they are there. They tend to your partner, make sure they live the longest life they can, and really communicates with everybody in the household, including you and including your partner, to ensure that everybody's aware of what kind of needs and medical attention your partner might need, especially because they're much older. And the second one is the wink wink nudge nudge physician. So this is the physician that you would want if you are wanting to help your partner's departure from this world come along. Is just a little bit, yes. So the wink wink nudge nudge physician is someone who is going to have meetings with you and not your partner, is going to be there to essentially ensure that your partner is not staying alive for very long. But there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you've done your dues. You've made it. You're in the mansion. You've provided, and think of the quality of life. I mean, the quality of life of your partner. You simply have to remember that you are the good person here. Yes, yes. Say, which one would you like? The by the book physician or the wink wink nudge nudge physician? Yes, of course. Very good. Okay, so with all that selected, I will go ahead and send the necessary correspondence. It might take a week or so for them to get back and be ready. How quickly did you need them in the house? Okay, well, that is absolutely acceptable. I will absolutely have them over there by that time. Okay? All right then. Well, if there's nothing else, please feel free to come back. If there is an issue, I will right the wrongs of any subordinate that you have because they came from me and I offer 100% guarantee that you will love them. Okay? Okay, yes. All right then. Well, have a good one and enjoy your life at the mansion. All right. Bye-bye.